I thought it necessary, Mr. Speaker, to just give an update as to where we stand, having just passed the first quarter of our tourism calendar year, which began on October the 1st, 2017, and so the first quarter would have ended January the 31st, 2018. Mr. Speaker, I first want to indicate to the public at large that the Ministry of Tourism and the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, we operate on the basis of consultation with the various stakeholders in any given year of the industry to make sure and to ensure that the persons who are part of or who consider themselves as stakeholders in the industry have an opportunity to indicate to us whether they have any challenges ensuing, and for us also to indicate to them any challenges that may have arisen during the currency of the year. And I'm pleased to indicate to this Honorable House and to the public at large that yesterday we held a very successful town hall meeting, I would say, at the Marriott from 5 o'clock in the afternoon with the taxi operators and the tour operators and that fraternity and that body to see if they had any challenges during the first quarter of the season, and for us to indicate to them any new measures we might have been contemplating going forward. And I must say, Mr. Speaker, that we had about 200 plus taxi operators at that meeting. And the meeting, to my mind, when I left at around 7 o'clock to attend another town hall meeting at Newtown, had been very successful at that time. There were some concerns shared by them, which we were able to amicably resolve right there in that town hall meeting at the Marriott. And so I must say that as I stand here this morning, I believe all the issues, or most of the issues, that may have challenged us during the first quarter of this season have been laid to rest as of yesterday, as far as I'm concerned. Mr. Speaker, 2018, although yet young, has seen a number of accolades and recognition given to St. Kitts. And since the beginning of the year alone, that's just January and February, we've had a number of them. And I would just like to go through a couple of them, because it is important for us to understand in St. Kitts and Nevis that under this government, something good is happening. You see, because people like to drown out the good with a lot of negativity. And so I think it's important for us to place front and center to the public what good is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so since the beginning of the year, we've been named among the 22 hotspots for where to go in 2018.
In the world.
In the world, by Bloomberg. Not by us, not by any publication aligned to this government, but by Bloomberg, a well-recognized business publication. And in fact, it is the only Caribbean country to appear on that list, that Bloomberg list. We have also been declared one of the top 21 places to travel in 2018 by the Robb Report. And I want to stop here, Mr. Speaker, because the Rob report is a very important publication. I brought it. We wanted to advertise in this report, The Rob report, we wanted to advertise in it. $300,000 a page. When I hear that, I tell them, no, we don't have that kind of money. But the good news is that we've been doing so well that we get the page without the advertisement for free. So on page Places to be in 2018 St. Kitts, and there's a big write-up for us. So we get $300,000 for free. I think we need to give St. Kitts a round of applause for that. One of the best destinations to watch in the Caribbean for 2018 by travel agents. One of the 18 best islands in the Caribbean to visit for 2018. I mean, so many accolades. I could stay here all day talking. The most beautiful winter escapes in the world, St. Kitts again. The best place to visit in December. Again, the only Caribbean destination by Condé Nast. And look at this. Park Hyatt just named #1 of the 14 best new Caribbean hotels by CNN. #1 of the 14 best new Caribbean hotels by CNN. But that ain't all, Mr. Speaker. Just come off of the wire this morning. Just this morning. Off of the wire. And let me think, because I don't even have it in publication. Just hot off the press, as they say. Hot off of the press, we have, and I don't want to misquote, Mr. Speaker. Hot off of the press. Just a week after being listed among the top 15 best new hotels in the Caribbean, the Park Hyatt St. Kitts has now been named among the best new hotels in the world. You can't want better than that. Today, just today as I speak. And so we have a lot going on for us in St. Kitts. And we can't afford anybody to stop the kind of economic activity, the robust economy we have by talking negativity. We have to make sure that that negativity is drowned out in all that the good that we have, Mr. Speaker. Well, let us look at ALIF, Mr. Speaker. Because despite the hurricanes of 2017, Irma and Maria, we posted positive results in 2017. Because normally we have stayovers at 105, 115, 110. 2017, despite the hurricanes, we were at 140,000. Wow. I must say, Mr. Speaker, that the increase was driven in part by marked improvements in our American Airlines flight out of JFK and out of Miami in the latter half of 2017. Further, Mr. Speaker, the new Delta flight out of JFK on Saturday that we started on December the 23rd, and the second weekly non-stop flight from Atlanta starting December 27th of last year, we expect to show some positive results also for 2018 arrivals. Mr. Speaker, I want to touch briefly on cruise. And I really don't have to say much about cruise, because the optics is there for everybody to see. I used to ask, when I started in 2015, my staff, when I come into town in the morning, how much cruise ships out there? Tell me 1, 2. No, I don't even ask them, because either 4 or 5, 4 or 5 out there. I see a gentleman in here, Brother Bumpy, a big taxi man. He could tell you, these tourists knocking him down on Port Zante. See Brother Bumpy nodding his head. Knocking you down on Port Zante. And so for the first 4 months of this season, what's that? But I didn't even ask, but when I come into I see like 3, I believe it's 4 there, I didn't even ask. Why Bumpy here? Bumpy here because Bumpy understands that the engine that drives the economy starts in here with the unity government. That's why Bumpy is here.
I would ask those visitors in the gallery, we welcome you here and appreciate having you, but kindly hold your applause.
And Brother Bumpy don't make so much money for the week that he don't even have to come in here. Up here doesn't even have to be out there today. He could take off the day. Absolutely. Because if you ask Soka, who is the primate vendor, when I go to work in the morning sometimes, I see Soka in a short pants. And I say, Soka, why you not working today? He said, but hi Grant, I don't make enough for the week, I just chilling a bit. I let somebody else to take a little bit more of the pie. That is Soka, the primate vendor. And I could tell you, Mr. Speaker, I want the public to understand that Soka, they tell me how much he make on a monthly basis. He said, boy, good. And I could tell you he make more than parliamentarians. Yeah. He makes more than parliamentarians. So kudos to Soka, the primate vendor. Yeah. And that is the kind of economic activity this government wants. Because we want to make sure we empower the small people in this country to grow big. And so for the first 4 months of the season, we are already up 20.5%. 20.5%, an additional 86,800 passengers already for the year, the first 4 months. Above what we got last year. And you see, I see a gentleman in the gallery too, and he tells me I don't talk enough about tourism and so much good is happening. Because you hear people saying, everything Unity do these days, they say Labour was doing that. I mean, give me a break. We opened the Dr. Lake Center. They said they were going to do that. Never get around to it. We started the cruise pier. They said they were going to do it. Then you think in Tabernacle, the medical center, they were going to do that too. So everything we say, they were going to do that too. But what they weren't going to do is come back in this parliament as the government.
Remember on the statements by ministers, we stay away from controversial things.
That is controversial.
But it might elicit some controversy or response.
Okay, what is not controversial, Mr. Speaker, is this. When they demitted the office, that's the last government, they had 638,269 passengers, cruise passengers. 638,269. 2014. We are bringing you, my math saying too good, But we are bringing you for this year 1,500,993 passengers. Wow. That is 862,724 passengers more than they brought the last time. I ain't good at maths, but I know this is over 100% increase in 3 short years of this unity government. Man, give us a clap. I want to show you the performance of unity. And the problem with unity, only have one problem. We don't bang them out enough on the good things. Well, I saw the learned Attorney General bring a plaque in here, all the way from Africa, he said. He brought 2 plaques from Africa. Well, I bring in my plaque, you know. Can we just get this? I bring in this plaque from Ecuador. I didn't go.
That's close, man.
My team brought it. But the reason why I'm bringing this plaque is because St. Kitts and Nevis is the first country ever in the Caribbean to get this award. And hear this, better yet, this award is an award given by the airline industry. And the persons who selected, or the airlines who are on the committee to select St. Kitts and Nevis, they don't even fly here. JetBlue, Southwest, all them big airlines. And you may ask me, what's the importance of this? It's important. Because we just had United Airlines come here for the first time, I think it's a year or 2 years ago. And it was through Roots why they came. Roots is the premier airline institution when we're dealing with passenger flow to and from. So I want to read it because the AGC must read it. Roots America Marketing Awards, highly commended. Awarded on the 14th of February 2018 to the St. Kitts Tourism Authority for excellence in destination marketing. No other Caribbean country ever get anything like this. So I'm going to start to bring my plaques like the AG because I think it's important.
AG plaque come from Africa, right?
Yeah, mine come from a little closer, Ecuador. Yeah. Well, let us look at yachting. Let us look at yachting. So far in 2018, the Caribbean Crew Fest held at the Marina at Christophe Harbour from January the 17th to the 20th produced the best results since the inception of this event 3 years ago. The best results. A record of 15 super yachts with an average length of 61 meters participated, which was an increase over last year. The Caribbean Crew Fest, Mr. Speaker, is now an annual 4-day event that is organized in collaboration with ACREW, an international crew professional development organization, to promote the marina and the destination, while providing developmental workshops for the crews attending the vessels. Golf, another success again. Because in just the first 2 months of the year, we have already conducted 2 of our premier golf events. The 3rd annual 2-ball invitational, or St. Kitts Placathon, or Placation, conducted in partnership with Golf Ontario from the 14th to the 18th of January in St. Kitts, and the 8th annual Admiral's Cup Pro-Am taking place from February 3rd to the 8th, 2018, with plays both in St. Kitts and at the Four Seasons in Nevis. And over the last 8 years, Mr. Speaker, the program has been running. It has had more than 100 teams here and over 1,000 attendees. And that is good for the development of tourism in St. Kitts and Nevis. I just want to slightly touch on hotel development. You would appreciate that the luxury Park Hyatt, 126 room, just opened in December. We just announced the Ritz-Carlton, which will be 125 rooms on the Southeast Peninsula, in addition to 25 branded villas that we are expecting to create some 300 jobs during the construction stage and another 250 jobs during the hotel development stage. I also want to say, Mr. Speaker, that we have been negotiating with what I would call a cutting edge hotel, which we expect to come during the currency of this year, early next year. The most I'll say about it, Mr. Speaker, the cutting edge nature of it, It would be an underwater hotel, the first kind in the world. Think it's always coming first. I want to say to you also that the developers are those who would have developed and had a significant interest in the Palm Island in Dubai. And so very shortly, we are going to come to this country with more detail, Mr. Speaker, on that development. Suffice to say, it will be the first of its kind, not only in the Caribbean, but in the world, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to touch on one last event, Mr. Speaker, which I think is very important. And it is the issue of the bars, the beach bars at Friars Bay. And Mr. Speaker, it's important for us as a government to make the country aware of what the government's position is and what the government has done to resolve this issue of the bars at Friars Bay. I first want to say, Mr. Speaker, that this government owns no land on the Southeast Peninsula. This government, the federal government, does not own 1 square foot of land on the Southeast Peninsula. That's point number 1. Point number 2, all beaches are public. Point number 2. Well, the issue of the beach bars at Friars Bay, as you would appreciate, and I will elaborate on, is that there were about 6 beach bars. Yeah, not about, 6 beach bars on Friars Bay, operating over the last several years. Those beach bars were and still are on private property. The persons who were vending in the beach bars made out leases with the owners, indicating to the owners that they will pay a certain amount of rent and that they can be removed by the owners at short notice, i.e. 30 days, 1 month. But they have been there for years because the owners weren't doing anything with the land and decided they would let them be on the land. Not a problem at all. However, some time ago, the owners decided they were going to sell the land to the developers of the Ritz-Carlton. And so they went to those persons who were operating the beach bars and said to them, look, we're ready for our land. The Ritz-Carlton need vacant possession, which in simple language, it means when the Ritz-Carlton buy the property, they ain't want nobody on the land. Because you ain't gonna buy a house with somebody inside the house unless you know what's their interest, correct? And so, in fairness, the people want nobody on the land. And so there, we had a slight problem. Because it appears as though the persons who were operating the bars understood that they had to go, but were saying the time period wasn't long enough. And so there were a number of meetings, Mr. Speaker. Meetings with the cabinet, meetings with lawyers and the beach bar owners, meeting with Frigate Bay Development Corporation and the beach bar owners, all in an effort to try and resolve the matter in an amicable way. Meaning, we are just trying to help because we don't have any horse in the race. We don't own no land. We're just trying to help, obviously, persons from St. Kitts who plying their trade and at the same time trying to preserve a major hotel development to make sure we put 300 and 400 and 500 people to work. So it's a balancing act. And so there were a number of meetings. The long and short of the story is, Mr. Speaker, is that my advice is that there are certain bars over there who, when they met with the lawyers, decided to take a package. Meaning, you know, sometimes you work for an institution for a long time and they want you to have early retirement and they offer you a package and you say, well, I'll take the package or I'll not take it if the money right. And it appears that some bars over there decided the package was good enough. They took the package and they decide they're leaving. We had a couple of them who decided that they wanted to have their bar still on the beach. Well, as it is, Mr. Speaker, you would appreciate we have no land on the Southeast Peninsula. But some people out there barking. They're barking and making mischief about government and land. And all I would say to that is that when they had acquired, the previous government had acquired Dr. Beard's land, how much acres it is? 800 and something acres. This last government acquired a national land over the Southeast Peninsula, Dr. Beard, 800. 800 plus. What they should have done then, since they care so much about this, is that they should have acquired maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 acres adjacent to the beach for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. But instead of that, they acquired Dr. Beard land, 800 and something acres, and gave them to some foreigners. That's what they did. And now back in talking about us. We came, no land on the Southeast Peninsula owned by this government. But we're still trying to find a way to make sure that we satisfy the beach bar owners. So, last week on Friday, I met with the owner, along with Frigate Bay Development's chairman and the general manager, with the owners of Shipwreck and Discovery Bar, which are the two rail operators over there. And although on the Frigate Bay Strip, we only had 4 spaces available, 4 spaces available, and we had already internally decided who they were going to be given to, we pulled back on that and decided in the national interest, we are going to offer the bar owners the spots on the Frigate Bay Strip. And we did that on Friday. My understanding is, as I stand here today, is that there is some semblance of acceptance by the bar owners, although reluctantly, to go to Frigate Bay. And why I say reluctantly, because it appears as though those bar owners had a little niche market, let me say that, in that they wanted a really private kind of beach, which Frigate Bay is not necessarily that. But my understanding is they have accepted. I want also to say they haven't accepted just like that. And the government has bent over backwards. In the first case, the owners of the land at Southeast Peninsula, they're going to wipe off whatever arrears they have for rent. They're going to give them a year rent cash in their hand, meaning if they were paying $100 a month to the owners are going to give them 100 times 12 in their hand cash. They have done that. They have given them money to move, which they didn't have to do. And on top of that, the government has offered the bar owners a year rent free. Well, I think that's enough. I think that is a satisfactory accommodation to a nibbling and aggravating issue. And so we believe from this side of the government that this matter would resolve in a matter of a few days, which would allow the developers to get their free and clear title, have this transaction consummated, the deal go through, and at the end of the day, hundreds of persons from St. Kitts and Nevis employed. That is what we would like to see happen. And so the government, on our part, we have done what we believe was necessary for the preservation of the businesses, of the vendors, of the persons of Friday. And in addition, to preserve the bigger issue, or a corresponding big issue, is to preserve hundreds of jobs and economic activity, millions of dollars pumping into this economy for the people and for the benefit of the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. And Mr. Speaker, with those few words, I rest.
Stay up to date with news, programs, and activities of the government with SKNIS. Like us on Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud. Follow us on Twitter. And watch our videos on YouTube. Connect with us today. SKNIS, St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.